Thursday. It's Thriving Thursday, and you are in the Mom's Link Women's Let's Talk About It corner. This is going to be a great topic today. So excited to be here with my sisters here from the Mom Link, where we're going to really dig deep into, what I like to say. How about you, ladies? This is a controversial topic. What is it? What we're going to be talking about today is we are going to be talking about boss babes, CEOs, boss ladies, mompreneurs. What does it sound like to you? Do you like to be known as that? We want to know about the stereotypes of what we call us women leaders. Would you prefer to be known as just that CEO, or do you like to hear that CEO? So before we get this conversation flowing and going, whether you're watching this on a replay or live, we love to know where you are tuned in. So definitely drop into the comments where you're tuning in from and really what you are looking to get from this great conversation. So my name is Camille Jones, and I am the program and educational director here in the Mom Link, and I'm all about giving us womenpreneurs, as Mom Link members and everyone else in between, that voice and that space and place for us to be able to educate and elevate each other. I'm going to pass the mic over to my sisters over here. Yes, we got New Jersey in the house. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Hey, Elena, just definitely everybody that's tuning in, whether it's on the replay or not, because we will check it, make sure that you're engaging in there, because that's the best way for us to really use this app with intention is by commenting, engaging with each other. That's what I call authenticity, authentic growing your social platform. Throwing the mic over to my sister. I'm gonna pass the touchy on the left hand side to my friend Miss Mary.
Hello, everybody. That's you just took me way back with that song. I'm Mary Massey. I'm director of media for the Mom Link, and I'm excited for this conversation. Hello, everybody joining in from all the different places. Definitely leave a comment. Let us know how you feel about this topic, whether you agree, whether you don't, and why, because we really want to know what's on your mind. This is a very safe space. You are not going to be judged by what you say. So just be yourself. Be yourself. So, Janae, sending it over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Janae. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for the Mom Link. I am so happy to be here. This is my first segment with Around the World with the Women. Hello, and I'm super excited about the conversation that we're going to talk about. We're actually about to drop a poll to see if you guys are going to do that. If you think that boss babes and CEO is a stereotype, so we're going to have you drop a 1 and 2 because we like to have engagement. We can talk all day long, but this is not a didactic. This is all about interactive. So let's go.
I love it. Janae's always coming in with like those, those jingles. There's always something that she always has, like this rhymes and comes right on time. Right. So I absolutely love that. And it's going to be a great conversation. And Janae is absolutely correct. We're here in the Women's Let's Talk About It corner. These are raw, authentic, genuine, open, safe conversations that us women, sometimes we leave it on our chest and in our hearts, and we don't feel that we have the opportunity to express it. But you know what? The power of the exhale and being able to really speak up how we feel and looking at the diverse perspectives and understanding that we are not alone in our own beliefs and what we do feel, they are credited, right? They may be different than yours, but they're still credited. And here in this space, we are all about talking about conversations that need to come to the forefront, that sometimes some people may feel a little bit shy or not comfortable speaking about. So today we are talking about this big gender differentiation when it comes to leadership roles in business. I hear it all the time. I'm guilty of it. Boss lady. I even had a whole page on boss lady. But when as I've been going on in this thing called business, it has made me look at different things sideways. So here we're going to have diverse conversations on what we think of the words CEO, mompreneur, all those boss ladies. And do you feel like as if you are being labeled based on your gender as opposed to your expertise? And should we be diverse on it? Well, I'll give you my opinion on it, and then we're going to throw it over to everybody else's and then get engaged. But while we're doing that, please, we want to hear your opinion too. We want to acknowledge all those that are in the comments that are chatting it up, because again, as we engage, whether you're able to speak or type, the power of engagement is the real genuine keys to connections and really building up great lasting collaborations and relationships. So my opinion on this is I'm kind of weird, okay? And I love it. I own my weirdness. The word CEO kind of like, it makes me feel like as if, oh, I'm only being acknowledged like that because I am the woman. Like if it was a man, it'd be CEO. So why can't I be that too? Right? Why is it different now that Camille's in the spot? Why am I being labeled based on my gender? But then I'm like, I didn't realize I was playing the devil advocate till last week when Crystal had asked the question, the word mompreneur. Well, I wear that with a badge. Like, how is that, Camille? How is it that I feel like I have a badge when I hear the word mompreneur versus CEO? And I don't know if it's because when I wear that mompreneur, I'm like, yes, I'm being able to raise these human beings and myself. Boom. That makes me even one step higher. But what's the difference of that CEO? See, girls, school me. Help me out, ladies. I'm all over the place. Uh-oh, Mary, we can't hear you.
I know I'm muted. I thought the dogs were going to bark. But I think it's like a badge of honor because being a mom is something that I personally wear with pride. I love being a mom. I love the fact that I'm an entrepreneur because I'm a mom. She's the reason why I left corporate and started my business. So I've always worn that with a badge of honor. And back in the day, I want to say maybe it was 2000, my daughter was born in 2004. So this is like before Facebook, before all of that, we had these websites that were like chat groups, like message boards and things like that. So that's when I began to kind of network with other women who were in the same space, who had left corporate. And I belonged to this group called the Mompreneur Network. And as a matter of fact, like I led some of that. I worked on their website. Like I was like very much into all of that. And eventually, over time we did grow apart, but it was something that we all wore with a badge of honor. Like a lot of these women left corporate as CEOs, as managers, as senior managers in the technical field and all of that. But never had I heard the term boss babe or anything like that until until social media came around. And that's when we started to see a lot more of that, like the influencer boss babe, and the CEO, this and that. And for me, it's always like, yeah, you can do all of these amazing things, but why separate yourself and classify yourself as a gender-based entrepreneur as opposed to just being, a boss, a female boss? You're a boss, period. Like, why add all of these things to it? Like, do we have, for example, in construction, a lady construction manager, right? No, it's a construction manager, or a foreman, a lady foreman, like whatever, all of these things. So I'm with you on that, Camille, that I do embrace the mompreneur title proudly because I am a mom and I'm an entrepreneur. And those are the two things that I put together. I consider myself a major boss. I don't consider myself a babe. To me, that's such a superficial kind of like title, like I don't like it when people call me babe. I'm not your babe, like I don't know, maybe it's just my own connotation or maybe a negative connotation that I have with those things personally. So I do think that it's more of a personal thing than anything else. But at the end of the day, I think it all just leads to the same place. It's just how you feel about it and what you want to be known as. What
How
about
about
you,
you,
Janae?
Miss Janae? Miss Janae. So we have it that, we wear, that word. I'm trying to balance out my head with y'all, right? I'm trying to be level-headed here. That we were talking about the differences of the boss babe or our boss babe and mompreneur, and why maybe we are looking at it because of the work that we have done of being both the boss and the mom. How about you, Janae? What is it? What say you? What say thee?
Listen, Mary had me laughing. I'm not a babe. What? Don't call me that. I'm a boss, but I ain't your babe. Listen, I'm gonna have to agree with Mary on that one. Body, and then boss is spelled different words: BOSS, BAWSE. I'm with mompreneur all the way. I'm with shepreneur, herpreneur. Ladypreneur, and all those are gender type based, but I'm gonna go to the south and to the left, to the right of it, because we're in a pronoun based now type of environment. And so when herpreneur and shepreneur popped up, I was like, scratch my head. I did. Uh-oh. Animals, hold on. And they're not as big as yours, Mary. You heard them. Little bites. But we're in the pronoun type of society. So the verbiage is changing in reference to gender 100%. When you gave the example, Mary, of foremen, and I thought of handymen, because there are women who are handymen, and there are construction workers, foremen, who are female, but now that we're getting into pronouns and that type, we're now going to go to a different type of a zone. So what does that really mean other than the boss babes now? 100% Mary, totally and completely. For me, it's degrading because I'm not, like you said, I'm not your babe. It's like being a waitress, which I was, and they would come, hey, baby. Hey, who? I'm not your baby. That, but the older customers that I used to wait on, they'll say sweetie or honey. And I had to be mindful that there was no harm in what they were saying. Yeah. It was their olderness, being older and just being that grandpa, grandma type, environment. But the babe with the men, oh, they knew exactly what they were doing when they were calling for help or needing assistance. And so that does hit a thorn with me, Mary. But when it comes to the other pronouns, it does not. The herpreneur, the shepreneur, I feel like we're changing in society. So those pronouns are actually what people are now identifying with. And so I'm down with it. I'm down with being flexible. I don't understand it all.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
but I am down.
Well,
I think let me say something here, Camille, because where I come from a Spanish-speaking country, and a lot of the things that we see in this country make no sense in Spanish. You know what I mean? So the whole gender equality and all that, and the whole pronouns thing, that doesn't translate well to South America and other Spanish-speaking countries. So that's something that I think is also kind of like a little bit in my mind, like you are who you are, and that's it. Like, why attach like a gender situation to it? And I believe too that what triggers me when it comes to the babe thing and all of that is just my own suspicion of how men see me, right? Because I have been through situations that were not pleasant. One of the reasons why I left corporate, I could have sued and all of those things, and I'm not going to get into that. But it's just the reality of things that even though we are women and we are very capable and we are super intelligent, we are in many ways a lot more capable than men. And I'm just going to say it because it's the honest truth. We are moms, we do all the things at home, we have to do the things at work, we have to do the things for our business, but we're still looked down on. And I think that attaching these labels, like separating ourselves from the big shots or the real CEOs or whatever, I think it's a little degrading to me. Now, mompreneur is different because, we are moms. Some of us are moms. And female leader, things like that. But I think that like the babe thing, I think that triggers me a little bit. So that's why I kind of like have to, I don't know, I have to think about that a little bit. And I don't know about those of you who are watching, if you've ever been in situations where you've been sexually harassed because of your gender, right? And even as a waitress, like you said, Janae, like the guys will say certain things. And as you walk away to get the coffee or bring the food, they're staring at your ass. I mean, that's just the way it is. And that just like drives me up the freaking wall. And I have spoken up. I have, whenever I'm walking with a friend or something and I see somebody just staring at their booties or looking at their boobs, I'm like, do you want a picture? Like, I am that person who will speak up. And I don't hold back because I think that it's degrading because of the way that I see people looking and I know what they're thinking. So I'm like, snap out of it, buddy, up here. So anyway, I'll digress there, but let's continue.
I love it.
Yeah, I just wanted to just touch on this one here because I just before we get to that one here, just two quick things. Is I love the fact that Janae, you talked about the tone of the person giving it out, and Danette also attested to that too, because that honey could be honey as being in a nice way or honey in that other kind of way, the other suspect way. I do love too the fact that you, instead of using CEO or those kind of words, you put the preneur behind it. And that to me is what I think. I absolutely love that. Shepreneur. And why I say that, and like mompreneur, is because we also as women have to be mindful that not every woman that is in a leadership role is a mom. So they may hold that SHEO a lot like their baby, the same way that they do as their as we do as us being a mom. And I just wanted to address this comment here, because that is actually in real life, my godmother, Kim Murphy, my mom's bestest friend from high school. Yes, who's that comment that you just put up here? Yes, Kim is a proud mom and a godmom to me, and she has amazing grandchildren from my god sisters, and she is so. I can attest to everything that she's saying. She works so hard in her business, all around her family, still having that balance, and really does. And I agree with you, Kim. We really have to go with what resonates with ourselves too, right? Like how do we, instead of allowing the society to label us, how about how do we want to see ourselves and perceive ourselves? And that's why it's great that we're having this conversation. And I love that you talked about the gender equality. I'm going to pass it over, but I just had to bring it up and say hi.
Hold on real quick. I like what Kim asked. She asked her a question. She said, are there the same labels for men?
Yeah.
That is a very good question, because I Googled. I didn't ask my cousin Chat. I didn't have time to ask Chat, but I just went out and Googled real quick. But it didn't pop up like that, at all.
Say that again. No, you got to repeat what you just said there.
What part? I Googled versus calling my cousin Chat.
No, when you just said you Googled it and they didn't have things for.
No, it doesn't, not in the when you Google stereotypes from women in corporate America or stereotypes from women in business, you're going to get a whole plethora of listing names. But when you do the same exact search for men, you don't get as many. They go into like the detail of masculinity and stuff like that, or metrosexual, but it's nothing as a real true name.
Isn't that a thing? I never thought about Googling it. See, this is what I love about this Women's Corner. We find different ways that we could do even deeper researches just from having these open conversations. That's actually really smart and really makes you go, huh? So why is it, ladies, that we have a full journal of diverse ways to be labeled as the female counterpart as opposed to the male? What do you all think about that? That's a good one, Janae. Thank you for that, researching that.
I'll throw the mic to our new guest that's come on the mic, our other lovely member of the team, Miss Mary Kim. Hey, beautiful.
Hi, ladies. How are you? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I'm loving this conversation. So did females, I have a question. Did us females come up with those names, or did men?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if
I would say female, because I feel like we're always constantly trying to prove something. So I'm thinking, Mary Kim, that maybe it was women. Right?
I'm gonna Google it.
But I totally agree with the boss babe. I don't want to be called a babe. I've also been there, Mary, in the corporate world. But I've used it in the past, dress your boss babe self, in a cute, telling people, dress with a splash of pink and your best boss babe. But I don't want to be called, I'm not a boss babe. But that was my way of just whatever your style is as your boss, whatever you resonate with. But I'm not a boss babe. Don't call me babe unless you really know me, or unless you're Janae was sharing, that older generation, it was the tone and the intention was because they respect you, where we know a lot of men will use that today to degrade you or think of you as less. But I'm good for the mompreneur. But you're right. Do we really need those labels? And I also agree, Janae, with those pronouns. It is the world that we're living in now. And every year there's more different names or terms that people want to be known for or called by. And I respect that. So I think what you ladies have shared is, what do we want to be called? And then just make sure we're oh, I'm a mompreneur, or I'm just a business owner, whatever it is, and just stand for that. I may not resonate with what Camille decides or Mary or Janae, but it's what I want, and that's our ownership. But we'll have to Google who came up.
I
with
did. I'm
first.
Googling it right now, girl. So yeah, and I love that. I love that. You know what? You just banged it right there. Is that we need to be in control of our own labels and respect our own labels. Because there's a lot of times where I may say that this, I'm convinced that this jar of water is not purple, and you're telling me it's blue, but you're telling me it's blue with so much conviction that I start to say, discredit my own self just because of what you're saying. And that's what a lot of us are, you know, as human beings tend to do. We accept the label that somebody else says that we should or needs to be, even if in our hearts we know this is purple. So I love the fact that we are touching on that, is really owning that label, as opposed to just, you know, feeling that it needs to be accepted. And it's okay to have both sides. And this is the thing that this is what I'm talking about when it comes to when I talk about snowflake society, how everybody's like, oh, we don't want to, it's not about hurting each other's feelings, and it's not about being disrespectful. It's not, that's the key. It's about just having a perspective, but in a respectful way, and being able to see each other's own diverse, you know, perspective and perception, but also make you go, huh. I may not 100% agree, but it makes you go, huh. It makes me analyze even my own perspective. Like again, I am loving, I figured out why I like the word mompreneur. Yes, it is because I'm a mom, but it's the preneur, because there's so many amazing women that I have had the great opportunity to now know that are not mothers, and sometimes feel very like, because you don't know their story to why they may not be mothers. Some choose to be, some, you know, it's what the hand that was being dealt. So sometimes I feel like that could be a touchy word to say, mompreneur. So I love, Janae, when you said how shepreneur, you know, ladypreneur, because what it is still, you know, giving us that like extra stamp up, because, you know, I don't care what anybody says. Yes, we are the alpha. Yes, Mary, you said it too. But with that alpha, you know, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Us women have so much responsibilities, whether we have children or not, that the fact that we are still doing what we need to do as women, the nurturers by natures that we are, plus being preneurs, drops mic. So I'm just loving this conversation. I don't know if you found in Google who is the creator of all these stereotypes, but I'm on a Google quest, ladies.
Yeah,
I need to know.
look for it. So another thing I have to say to that, Camille, too, is that what you said is very important, like respect other people's opinions and stances, right? So with us, like we're basically explaining and sharing why it is that maybe some of these labels don't necessarily jive with us. And that's cool. You can call yourself whatever you want. There are amazing groups of women out there, like the Boss Babe Network, and like, you know, let them be them, right? And you're going to resonate or you're not. However, you still respect the hustle. I respect everybody's hustle. Trust me. You know, you can call yourself whatever you want to be called. And I totally respect that. And just like I respect that, I also want to be respected for my own opinions, right? That doesn't mean that we're not going to agree on anything else, because we also live in a society that as soon as you disagree with somebody, like they cut you off, they write you off, and that's it. Like, oh, you don't see my
Well, the cancel, what is that called, Mary? What's it called?
Cancel society.
Cancel.
Yes. Cancel society. So yeah, so that's the thing too. Like you, just like we have all sorts of faith denominations, and we can still love each other and talk to each other. And we have like, if you came to, you know, to one of my classes, where if you come to a circle of friends that I have, you will find everything. And it's so funny because I'm having a birthday party on Saturday. And we were like, okay, yeah, we have the Asian crew, we have the Indian crew, we have the Black crew, we have the Hispanic crew, we have the white crew, we have the gay crew. Oh, we also have the lesbians.
But where's the LinkedIn crew? Hello, hello.
You know, so it's like, and it's beautiful to have all of this. And do you think that one person is you know, like we have the born again Christians, we have the Muslims, we have the Hindus. Do you think like they're like knocking each other down because of their beliefs and trying to, the things that when you try to convince somebody to come on your side, that's the danger, rather than just respecting and saying, I see you right there. I can love you from where I am, and you can love me from where you are, and we can, you know, we can do wonderful things together. And I think that at the end of the day, like that's what truly matters, is to respect everybody's opinions and where they come from. You want to be a boss babe? Go for it. You want to be a mompreneur? Go for it. But just don't take offense to when somebody, you know, they'll take offense to the fact that somebody's calling themselves that. Like what you said, Camille. Yeah, there are a lot of women who are not moms, and that's true. So the label doesn't apply to them, and that's okay. It applies to you. It doesn't apply to them. They can call themselves something else. So there's no reason to really feel offended for, you know, for us calling ourselves mompreneurs or anything like that. So that was just my 2 cents.
Well,
Hey,
Mary,
everybody, look at the Janae,
Okay.
go back to your. I just read the banner that's going on down there. Janae had that poll going on. Where's the ones and the twos? Let's hear it. From what you've heard so far.
Yeah, and Mary, speaking of, because you're all things branding, right? And so I'm gonna do a 180 right quick, because you said if you're not a mom, then that label doesn't apply to you. But what about those who brand themselves as the labels? You know, mompreneurs, shepreneur, herpreneurs, all the different labels. Because I was once told, you know, like certain labels that people are now branding themselves as certain labels. It may only apply to your life at that particular moment, but it may not apply later on in your life. So it's not wise to do so, right, Mary?
Right, absolutely. Because you progress. So there might have been a time when maybe you're younger, you're in your entrepreneurial journey, you become an influencer or something on social media, like a lot of these things that we see, and you're going into that boss babe mentality. Oh, I'm such a boss babe, and then as you get a little bit older, maybe you begin to think differently, and now maybe you're changing your own label and what you call yourself. But that's just something that's so innate, and that's something that it's your own journey, and you're transitioning through all of these things. Like, I don't know if I would find like an entrepreneur, a woman in her 70s who's been in business for a long time, calling herself something that a millennial might be calling herself. You know what I mean? So it's all about the progression and the transition, and just be where you are and see what else is out there.
Good. That's good. So pay attention to that, y'all, because I see boss babes as brands all the time for individuals, not just groups, and again, later on in life, you might look at that like, I'm no longer that person. And now you're rebranding to a whole different concept, because now you have gotten wiser, or even you might regress. Who knows? You might have went through a midlife crisis and decide to go backwards. Who knows? I don't know. But stay away from the labels as being a part of your brand. That's our nuggets for you today.
Absolutely. And how about you, Mary Kim? Because I know you come from a corporate background where I know it's in marketing, and I know a lot of those departments are quite small. And when you do see the female back in the day, because I guess marketing departments now are called social media departments. I don't know. I haven't been in it since. I'm not gonna age myself. But I want to know, how have you been labeled in like that corporate world, or have you ever been, versus when you have went out and been that entrepreneur for yourself? Do you see that there's a difference in that aspect?
Thanks, Camille. I was in the corporate world for 28 years, and big from a more mom and pop type of corporation making garments to a bigger global company. And yes to all of that immediately. And so one thing I want to say, I do not like labels in general, especially after having my son. I have a 10-year-old boy with Down syndrome, because when you put a label on somebody, right, you automatically get put into the box of the person that's thinking what that label means. So meaning if you say, oh, I'm a boss babe, not that it's a good or bad thing, but let's say Camille thinks boss babe's oh, you're just showing a lot of your skin or whatever it is. They have this perceived conception of who you are. So these labels I don't really like to lean into, because I have a different perspective as a mom to my son, because automatically when he walks into any space, everyone puts him in a box based on what their experience is with a boy or a child with Down syndrome. In the corporate world, my experience has been women are definitely, they're not labeled as a female salesperson. They're generally underneath the same umbrella as the entire team. However, you could be earning as much, if not more, than someone else on your sales team, and make probably 3 to 5 times less than the male counterpart, who's actually bringing in a whole lot less with a whole lot less profit. So there is not really a label that I've experienced in terms of they call us anything else, but you're just part of the sales team or whatever name you're under. It was never underneath any pronoun, but this was before pronouns really came into play. I don't know today. but we are put in a box as a female up to the point to where managers may feel that your spreadsheet on analysis is emotionally driven.
Yeah, and you know what? You really
So,
hit
yeah.
a huge point, Mary Kim, that the labels and how we even perceive ourselves is really based on our own journeys, our own life experiences. See, for you,
Yeah.
when you hear that word label, it hits you a lot harder than somebody else that may not have, you know, somebody that you're constantly seeing being labeled for diverse ways. And it's also that you hit a point of saying that, you know, even though in that corporate, when you were in corporate, they may have not said, hey, boss babe, or any of that stuff, but they subliminally, like your subconscious, you know, did it through how you were seen as a valued based on your pay. So it was hit in a different type of way. So again, that could attract to how you see that label. And that's why I say it's so important for us to have these conversations. But I also say, isn't it crazy that we as women have to have these conversations? It makes you go, these men just are men, right? And that's it. But, you know, or is it? Because I could be stereotyping right now too, because I'm here to learn. So I was just thinking about that, how deep the conversation has to be when we talk about these labels. Like we attach them to how they've affected us with our children, how it's affected us with our pay, how it's affected us with even some of us loved, you know, they've worked so hard and may have been in such a male driven industry or area that when they hear that word she or her, it gives them that power. And I don't know, ladies, do you think this is why these labels, these pronouns are becoming such a thing now? Was it something that we needed to bring years ago, or is it just adding more to the
I think it's
conversation?
because of all the things we've been through over the years and how we are still looked down on, because it is still a male dominated society any way we slice it, and it will probably always be, you know, truth be told, because I don't feel like even though a lot has changed, there's a lot that still hasn't. And until we teach our young boys to think differently and to appreciate women, it's not going to change. So if you have a man who is that type of, and I'm not saying all men are like that, because my husband is definitely, he will not comment on a woman's body ever, not to me, not to anyone, but there are a lot of men who do. And I know men who do. So, and what happens is all that trickles down to their boys and they grow up with that. So until we stop the root cause of the issue, it's not going to stop. And here we are in the US, you know, we do have a lot of great opportunities as women. We are able to build empires. Look at Sarah Blakely, look at so many amazing women who are, you know, headlining now PepsiCo and all of that. So it's amazing to see that. But it takes a lot of work and determination and a lot of you owning your shit, you know, and a lot of you like having that thick skin. It's not for every woman to be able to get to that level without really having a strong mentality and thick skin, you know. So we will always see some of that, and it makes me sad to even say it. It's the truth. So at the end of the day, I feel like when it comes to a lot of these things, like it's like women are constant trying to prove something, trying to prove that, yes, I can build a business. Yes, I can do it all, even though I have all these things going on in the family and all that. So it's like we're constantly trying to prove, but who are we proving it for? You know, is it for ourselves? And I think like that's the difference too. Like if you're gonna label yourself a certain way, then just own it and do it for you, not to blast it out to the world and say, look at all the things I can do. You know, because I think that there's a difference with that as well. And I don't, what do you ladies think?
Go ahead, Janae, go ahead.
Myself off mute. First of all, absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned your husband there, because I don't want people on the audience. I don't want y'all to think this is male bashing and that we all single women and that's what we ain't got nothing else but to do but to talk about. Nope. We have married women on this panel, right? And so she just gave she just put her husband, hey, I know men, and my husband, to be exact, he's one of them, but this is what he doesn't do. And then I know men who does. So it's not to all men at all whatsoever. And I put up there earlier because Camille was asking, like, where did this come from? You know, like, does this come from men? No, actually, it's just in our culture norms that have generated these labels, and we're actually talking about it with the she and the her and the pronouns and the transition our society is changing. But then Mary also mentioned earlier, being from a Spanish speaking country, that it's not all around the world that these things are transitioning into.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding what's going on in your backyard in the United States of America may not be going on in South America or even in Europe. So being able to be open-minded as a businesswoman, and yeah, that's another label, because instead of just a businessman, it's like a businesswoman. Being able to be open and have the understanding that the conversation of labels is very important, because it may not be the same and somewhere else different where you're doing business at. So opening up your mind and having that mindset to be open about all things, no matter what it is, shepreneur, herpreneur, boss space, whatever the case may be, then that's what it is. But when you close your mind off to labels, because it's a thing, it is a thing. Yeah. So when you close your mind off to it, then you're keeping yourself like Blockbuster did. And that's why, what? Blockbuster, are they still in this? No. Absolutely not. So you got to be like Netflix and learn, adapt, and overcome, and get that stream on when it comes to just being open about different things. And like I told you guys earlier, she, her, and all the pronouns. And you ask that question, Camille, I can't really say about it because I'm still learning about it myself. To kind of put an understanding of it. I have a 9-year-old daughter. And it's really hard because they're growing in that pronoun. And the pronoun, the way I used to use it in English, is not the way she's using it now. And I have to scratch my head sometimes like, school is hard, harder right now as it is based off of the different things and how we're changing. But it's a part of life and we got to go with it and roll with it.
So all in all, the pronouns, however we see ourselves, the labels, and we have to understand one thing about life. It's a continuous work in progress. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly growing. We need to get out of that old, see, like I said, old men's, but old mindset of this is the way it's supposed to be. Just like you said, it's very cultural. In the Caribbean, if the elders spoke, that's how it is. Don't question them. Do what I do. Don't do what do what I say. Don't do what I do. Right? So it's also now we're having that realization that true innovation, true glory in life comes to us living our own authentic ways, our own diverse standpoints. But that also comes with a challenge of, understanding the diverse perspectives. And, even to not even talk about the men too when it comes to labels, because I see a lot of the label discrimination or the label error, like, things actually between the same genders. Right. Yes. I see actually more. Yes, we can have the men part where they can sometimes associate it with something of sexuality or something physical. But then there's a lot of women that have this, I don't like to use the word hater because it's not hater. It's just the lack of understanding and seeing that their own beauty is really within themselves and not that woman crossing the street. But again, society has made us women feel like we have to compete against each other so many times. And this is why I love the Momlink community. And I even have people that sometimes with our label of our business, the Momlink, they're like, oh, I'm not a mom. But you know what? You spoke up, in the power of actually speaking up and understanding that it's not about the label of the name. It's about the connection and the energy that we're attracting to these individuals. And that's how we have these conversations. Because again, a lot of the times I'm seeing it as sometimes women going, oh, there she's going thinking she's a boss lady again. Oh, I've heard that. But then you know what I said, I'll tell you with me growing up, lately, like I've gotten comments. And I just go to them and I appreciate it. I send so much gratitude and love and say, where did you, I would love to even express, how did you even come up with that label? It's actually putting that person that may have had that counter thought of you actually on of interest, and people like to be interested. You know what I mean? So I just find ways to counter negativity through just gratitude with that smile. With that bully's talking bad about you, whatever, you give them your autograph and say, thank you for making me a popular. I'm just joking, but you know what I mean? I'm just saying that. What do you do to really talk about when, that hater, I don't like that word. It's such a teenage word, but you know what I mean, is going around within your own environment.
I love that you shared that, Camille, because I was going to say, even in the corporate world or even outside, stepping out of the corporate world into my own entrepreneurship and the things that I'm doing today, a lot of women in the corporate world were always making comments. Like I grew up, I went to a business school. So I grew up like when you go to a meeting, you get dressed for the meeting, right? You wear that corporate thing, you have that look. And I still carry that today, but I would always, not always, a lot of comments like, well, why are you wearing heels? Why are you wearing red lipstick? Or do you have a date? Like, I can't wear red. I'm like, no, I want to wear, I like red lipstick. Like things like that from women on those comments more so than men. So it's interesting, and not that it was a label, but we put into this box based on what people see, what they expect from their own point of view. And an entrepreneur and doing all these different things, I have a lot of people that come up to me like, I'm not sure what you do, right? Or why are you doing that? Why don't you get a job? You know, and I'm like, I do have a job. And they're like, well, why don't you work for someone else? I'm like, I don't want to work for someone else. This is what I want to do. And I don't hear those conversations being brought up from my male counterparts that step out and do things on their own, not working for a corporation, which is typically like, that's where you get the job, that's where you get success. So it's very interesting. It's the perception, right, of what limiting beliefs someone may grew up in or what they were taught as an age, and they carry that forward. And us ladies on here and anyone else listening, you know, changing that, like Mary Massey mentioned, and I believe that we're changing it going forward, like owning our labels, just standing in our truth, because one day, hopefully by our kids, the time they get to our age, they're not going to have these conversations of defending who they are based on whatever they decide to call themselves as. Like, so I'm so glad that we're bringing this up, because we, being the spokespeople, breaking those stigmas and having these conversations really are going to affect our kids and the next generation.
That's huge. Go ahead.
Yeah. Mary Kim, like what you said there is so important, because the way that other women see us, like, and I remember having this conversation with someone and about, yeah, do you dress up to look good for yourself, or are you trying to impress other women? You know, are you trying to have them see how good you look, right? So I love being an entrepreneur because I can dress however the heck I want. I don't need to impress anybody. But in that corporate situation, there's still that little tinge of jealousy, because there's not enough curiosity. You know, we see sometimes women who are more confident as threats, because we all automatically shrink. You know, it's like, oh, wow, look at how powerful she is and how confident and how she can speak up. We don't realize that we can do that ourselves because the evidence is right in front of us. But it takes a while to get to that mindset where you're like, okay, look at this person, you know, this woman, she's made it. She looks great. I love her wardrobe, you know. So going from hating to appreciating. This is why sometimes I say, girl, I don't hate, I appreciate. And I'm totally appreciating you up and down right now. Okay, because I see that greatness. I see what it takes for them to get there. And you don't know what people have gone through. Like, you don't know if that woman had a terrible situation at home, has a sick child, you know, and it has to put on the blazer and the red lipstick and own her position. So there's not enough, I think, curiosity going around. We just see what we see right in front of our faces. And sometimes we don't go a little bit deeper to try and understand the other person. We don't have to agree again, right? We don't have to agree, but I think it's worth to try to understand them a little bit rather than just judging them for the way that they look, because we are not there yet. So I think that having that growth is definitely going to help us also as women, so that we don't have to be constantly defending who we are and labeling ourselves and trying to prove the fact that we can't do this, or that we're like total boss babe, you know? So I think that it's that confidence that has to come within us. And I truly believe that in order for us to arrive at that level of confidence, we also have to acknowledge the greatness in other women without competing, without judging, because we honestly don't know what they've been through and what it takes. Like, look at Mary Kim. You see her looking fabulous all the time, right? Red lipstick, beautiful hair, everything. You don't know what this woman has to go through. You don't know what Camille has to go through. You know what Janae has to go through. You have no idea what I go through. But then you see us positioning ourselves a certain way. And you might say, whoa, okay, there they go again. They're going live again, right? Like, what are they going to talk about now? But I think that we have to meet everything with a certain level of curiosity in order to really embrace not just the greatness in others, but the greatness that is already inside of us.
Absolutely. And, you know, I just love the fact that we're talking about how we do get these labels because of cultural, or just, you know, that ask in us, the assumption that we create on people. Because, you know, I get the biggest assumption I get is, oh, how can you be a business person? You're a wife. Your husband does everything. He's a breadwinner. He's the one that does. But you don't know that. But that's the automatic assumption that a lot of people get. But when we actually take down those asses in us, because a lot of the time we only assume based on our own experiences or the perception of Disney, you know, of everything that we put into our dome, into our 3 pound muscle upstairs. But this is why I love the community that we have cultivated here at the Mom Link, is because no longer can we say that we're a product of our environment or we've never seen or experienced diversity because of the area that we may be physically in. Now that we have, you know, communities such as the Mom Link, which is international, which is global because of the connections that we've been able to create on platforms such as this one. So yes, now I'm able to hear the diverse perspectives of being in corporate in a mom and pop shop and in corporate and how it has affected your salaries. I've been able to experience how it's been to be a Zumba instructor with that's coming as a immigrant into the country. Sorry, as a country, like you know what I mean, Mary. But you know, and really seeing her build up her business, all while loving plants like a crazy plant lady that she is. I love it. And then Miss Janae, who not only gave back to her country, but is continuously giving back to us women as and travelers, all while being a mom, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and you know, and on top of that, keeping us in line. I'm like, how does she just know this? Like, as like, I feel like there's like a shadow, like, oh, hey, Janae, oh, but like, you know, but she's able to do all of that, all while still showing up for herself. And it's through these these open conversations and really engulfing yourself in communities that is greater than just wanting something, you know, just take. Yeah, having the give alongside the take, it really does build up that infinite eight. It really does build up that deeper understanding and that deeper, you know, sentimental reason as to why I like to be labeled this way. And when I know that why, it allows me to even say it with a smile or with confidence when I'm speaking about my amazing sisters here in the community. So the power of really collectively coming together really does eradicate a lot of that assumptions that we've made based on our own perspectives, because now we're able to truly learn from each other. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about, what is this Mom Link stuff I'm talking about, it's time to slide into Janae's messages, the Mary's messages, my messages, as well as coming to our information session at the Mom Link. We do have a Zoom that's available to where you could speak and ask questions. And most importantly, take action on yourself and show up. Knowing is half the battle. The other half is taking the action and doing it. So come up into the Mom Link and truly see that we are greater than just a community of networking with our pitching our businesses. We are all about elevating, celebrating, motivating, thriving, and re-evolutionizing the way that we do business together, collectively, knowing that we are like, you know, that what's that? It's from the, oh my gosh, I'm aging myself. The monkeys, monkey in the jar, where you know you connect the, you know the I'm being the monkey, the plastic monkey. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I'm not going on rant.
It's
All right,
link,
thank you.
it's a link, yeah.
Yes, this link thing. So I'm gonna pass the mic over to Janae so she could tell us more about what's going on in the Mom Link community. Oh, and we are going to have, oh, sorry, before I do that too, I want to say a little bit about a teaser for next week's room. Next week's room, Let's Talk About a Corner, is actually a special room that we're doing in celebration of some of the amazing people that we have met here on the LinkedIn platform. We, in celebration of Pride Month, we will be having some moms that will be coming in and really giving that information, the celebration, and support that this month is all dedicated to. So definitely stay tuned. Make sure to invite all your contacts, and let's eradicate the ass that's all in within us and start learning and growing just from showing up and getting diverse perspectives. All right, Miss Janae, mic is yours.
Hey. So I don't know if you guys can see this QR code that I'm looking at. I actually say that we can see. But we have our virtual summit that will be coming up this month in June. And we would really love for you guys to tap on that QR code link as well. in the and so that you can see it or across the screen. I know y'all are 7-second people, so y'all like to push on things. So I like to usually put it in the comments if I can. But the fact of the matter is, it's FREE free. So all you show up and get some phenomenal nuggets from some great speakers to include. Yep, that one right there. That one, that one right. Jack Chat, my cousin. Ooh, boy, she'll tell you everything you need to know about my cousin Chat. Boy, it's amazing. You don't want to miss it. If you ever been on that fence, like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. It's a game changer for you, even if you're not in business. I haven't introduced it to my 9-year-old. I'm kind of scared to do because I don't think she'll do any work after understanding Chat. But I think they're getting on to it too, Mary. So I'm like, oh Lord, what's gonna come on? But we also, like Camille said, we have the connection and collaboration room, which is about to kick off in a few after this is over. After that, we have our info Zoom if you want to know more about the Mom Link. So definitely want to tap in, tune in, follow each and every one of these ladies, but not just follow. There's a little on LinkedIn, you can actually just make sure your notifications every time, almost like in Clubhouse, you have a little bell, but every time they go live or every time they post something, you can get, especially if it resonates with you and you don't want to miss anything, you get that fear of missing out, that FOMO, then don't do it. Then click on those, notifications always, right? So that's what you want to do. Thank you so much for joining us. Definitely in the right time, place at the right time with the right people. So stay tuned for next week because she gave you a teaser alert. Yeah.
The teaser alert, but I'm gonna do one last extra plug because that's what I do, because I am the program and educational director here in the Mom Link. Miss Beautiful Janae has this is for all my Mom Link members. So if you're not a member, you're gonna want to become a member like now, because tomorrow Janae has her bi-weekly group coaching Zooms that are all it's available to all of our Mom Link members. When I tell you these Zooms the last few weeks have been fire, they have been, I don't even want to go there, but I'm in Canada, and let me just say I'm inside because it's hot outside, and it's because the Mom Link is coming. So I'm just saying.
Camille, is it tonight, Thursday?
It's I forget what day it is. It's tonight. It's tonight, actually. I don't know if I'm coming or going, ladies. So it's tonight at 8 p.m. for all of our Mom Link members that are already with us. We're having our group coach calling. It's going to be fire again, as it has been, and it is really about leveling up your business. And we're not gatekeeping. We're telling you all the secrets. Not even telling you secrets. We're going step by step. We're Googling with you and we're holding you accountable to get it done in your business, because you said you are that boss. You are that CEO. You are that entrepreneur. You are who you say you are. So let's speak up, stand up, and start walking in what we talk. Walk it like it, talk it. Walk it like it, talk it. Okay. Anyways, sorry, there's a song for everything. There's always a jukebox playing in my head. You guys have no idea. It's crazy. Anyways, until next week with our special guests, all about celebrating Pride Month and, being the amazing moms that we are. Can't wait to have this conversation. Meet us in the Connect and Collab room in 3 minutes. Let's do this. 3 minutes. In the audio LinkedIn. Audio LinkedIn, people. Audio LinkedIn.
Take care, y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.